Good day everyone, I'm Gail and Dela Cruz from BFS 102 and I'm here to discuss the advancing part of Asian regionalization, which is the economy of Asian regionalism. As countries in Asia seek to enhance their economic ties, understanding the dynamics of regional trade is more vital than ever. From historical challenges to opportunities for collaboration, let's explore how regionalism in Asia shapes not just the local economies but also the global market.
During the Great Depression of the 1930s, many countries faced severe economic challenge. To protect their economies, they formed preferential trade blocs that imposed high tariffs on imports from outside countries.
The Great Depression began in 1929 and lasted through much of the 1930s. It was one of the worst economic downturns in modern history, marked by widespread bank failures, high unemployment rates, and a significant drop in industrial production. Many people lost their jobs and savings, leading to severe poverty and hardship. In response to this economic challenge, countries looked for ways to protect their industries and boost their economy.
In response to this economic challenge, countries look for ways to protect their industries and boost their economies. One strategy they employed was forming preferential trade blocs. Preferential trade blocs are agreements between countries to make trade easier among themselves. These blocs allowed member countries to trade more easily with each other while imposing high tariffs or taxes on imports and strict controls on money exchange with non-member countries. For example, a country within a bloc might charge a high tariff on goods coming from outside the bloc, making imported goods more expensive. Additionally, these trade blocs often involve unfair currency practices. Countries could manipulate their exchange rates to make their exports cheaper and more attractive in the global market, while making imports more expensive. These protectionist measures backfired. Instead of stabilizing their economies, they led to a massive decrease in global trade and financial flows. Countries ended up with unsold goods, leading to overproduction and falling prices. At first, countries thought that these measures would destabilize their economies. However, they ended up backfiring. The high tariffs and strict money controls meant that countries couldn't sell their goods abroad as easily. This led to a significant drop in the global trade. For instance, if a country had a lot of grain but couldn't sell it internationally due to the high tariffs, it might end up with too much grain and forced to lower prices, causing financial losses. Instead of solving economic problem, this approach worsened them. As countries struggled to sell their surplus goods, it resulted in overproduction and falling prices. People lost jobs and economies fell deeper into recession. In response to the Great Depression, countries created the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or GATT, in 1947. The aim was to promote free trade and ensure all member countries were treated equally. In response to this challenging period after World War II, countries worked together to create a new global economic system to avoid repeating this mistake. They focused on the idea of non-discrimination in trade, which meant that no country should be treated unfairly when trading with others. This principle was central to the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, or GATT, established in 1947, which aimed to encourage free trade by lowering tariffs and removing trade barriers. In 1995, GATT evolved in the World Trade Organization, which continues to oversee international trade rules and promote fair and open trade. The goal is to ensure that all countries have equal access to markets and that trade can flow freely without excessive barriers. Today, regionalism can lead to fortress economies like Fortress Asia or Fortress Europe, which could isolate them by imposing high tariffs on non-member countries. This raises costs and limits variety in goods. However, concerns still exist about regionalism, which is when countries in a specific area band together to create trade blocs. For instance, Fortress Asia or Fortress Europe could emerge from this trend, where member countries impose high tariffs on goods from countries outside the region. This would limit trade with the rest of the world, which could be harmful. Such protectionist blocks can lead to a situation known as trade diversion. This is when trade shifts from efficient global producers to less efficient ones within a bloc, meaning that countries might end up buying goods that are more expensive than necessary. For example, if country A can produce a car more cheaply than country B, but countries in a bloc impose tariffs on imports from country A, they might end up buying more expensive cars from country B, simply because it is a member of the bloc. This situation raises costs for consumers as they have to pay more goods that could have been cheaper. Additionally, these blocks can fragment the global market. When countries focus more on trade with each other and impose barriers on outsiders, it creates complication in trade policies and regulation. This can make it harder for businesses to operate across borders. A smaller market may also mean less variety in goods and services available to consumers. Instead of building protective walls, countries should adopt open regionalism, reducing trade barriers both within their regions and with the world. This creates larger markets and promote cooperation. Instead, countries should invest in open and outward-oriented regionalism. This approach promotes lowering trade barriers not only among regional partners but also with the rest of the world. For example, if Asian countries were to remove trade barriers among themselves and also with countries outside Asia, they would create a larger market. This bigger market allows countries to benefit from collective strengths, such as technological sharing and investment opportunities, boosting productivity and driving growth. Cooperation among Asian countries can be complicated. While countries like China, Japan, and South Korea share strong economic ties, they also have historical disagreements. This means that countries need to find ways to work together while giving up some control over their own policies. Nevertheless, regional cooperation can lead to significant benefits. By learning from history, we can avoid the pitfalls of protectionism and work towards more inclusive and cooperative trade system. The future of global trade depends on our ability to connect and collaborate rather than isolate. By collaborating, countries can build better infrastructure, enhance trade, and improve investment, leading to economic growth and stability for all member nations. In summary, while protective measures in trade can lead to isolation and harm the global economy, focusing on open trade can bring prosperity and shared benefits to regions like Asia.